Hello everyone and welcome to our Expert Talk. I'm Yannick Peterschmitt and I'm heading the enablement team in Cloud ERP Product Success. It is Christmas time and this period of the year involves many logistic challenges like increased orders, speedy picking and delivery, all on the same day basically, higher likelihood of errors because many processing errors, and the reverse logistic, the growing orders and correlating growing number of returns. And at the heart of that, you have warehouse management. And we're here to talk about warehouse management, a very relevant topic to understand how to better manage the operations and logistic within a warehouse, including inventory management, production supply, order fulfillment, and optimizing the space utilization. Warehouse management is crucial for companies to enhance organizations, reduce operating costs, and have more transparency and efficiency in their processes. And to go deep on this topic, I have two guests today, Markus Oertelt and Ries. Welcome, guys. Welcome to this Expert Talk. It's great to have you. Markus and Christian, for those watching this talk, can you tell us more about warehouse management and concretely where to place it in the end-to-end context?
Yes, of course. So I think before we start going to the details of warehouse management, it's important to set a scene in an end-to-end scenario process. So if we look at this slide, we can see a full make-to-stock scenario, which starts with a plan to schedule on the left side. And of course, warehouse management is not important for the planning itself, but the first time it becomes relevant is when we receive the components that are delivered from the vendor into the warehouse. And once they are received in the warehouse, it also becomes relevant in the manufacturing process because we need warehouse management to stage component to the production supply area so we can then start the manufacturing process. And once this is completed, we can receive back the finished products into the warehouse. And then as a last step, of course, we want to ship it to our customers. So we can see on the right column in the store and transport area that we use warehouse management to pick the products, to pack them, to finally load them, and to then post the goods issue and hand it over to the carrier.
Thanks for the explanation of warehouse management in this end-to-end context. Now, we know where we need it. Can you tell the audience how it supports our customer concretely? So maybe we can begin with the inbound process.
Yeah, of course. Let's do a deep dive into the inbound process. So it usually starts with the receiving of an inbound delivery. So the physical delivery arrives at the warehouse, and then the warehouse clerk needs to record the quantities, record the batches, the serial numbers, packaging information, all of what is physically in front of him. And for this, we support them with Fiori applications or mobile RF transactions. So anything can also be done directly with the mobile scanner device on the shop floor. And once the products have been received and goods issue has been posted, we need to create warehouse tasks for put away. And this is where we can really gain a lot of efficiency using our put away strategy so we can determine the optimal storage bin. And the put away strategy can consider multiple factors. All of them are configurable, so you can have different storage behaviors like bulk storage or pallet storage. You can have capacity constraints. What is the maximum weight for a storage bin? Maybe only certain pallet sizes are allowed for certain bin sizes. And if all of this is not enough, then there are even cloud binders available that you can use to build your very own custom-specific put-away strategy using custom code. And one more thing to highlight in terms of business intelligence is the integration to quality management. So if stock is quality relevant, we will not simply put it away, but we will first move it to a quality area so it can be inspected and then be put away.
Thank you, Christian. Now coming to the inbound process, to the internal movement, so storage and operations. Where do you see the challenges and how can our customers solve them with SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition Warehouse Management?
Very good question, Yannick. Very good question. Well, foremost, or maybe most important, is we need accurate inventory information, or our customers need it. Then, where I come from, in Switzerland, space is very expensive, so efficient space utilization is very important as well. And yeah, of course, proper labor management. So we're talking about labor costs versus also investments in technology. So I think this is a good trade-off. We also have to find a good balance. And yeah, efficient picking processes are very important in the warehouse. A lot of customers focus now on quality control, because quality comes, it's increasing topic from our customers. And then also sustainability, like at SAP, reducing waste and resources. But maybe I can give you a concrete example of how we solved a common use case for our customers. In the beginning, you mentioned Christmas. So just imagine it's a busy bee in the warehouse, and if you work there and you have maybe unplanned goods issues because a customer just calls and it says I need 10 more pieces, or things fall down on the floor and break, and you have scrapping, for example. And I just want to show you an app how we solve that.
Let's do that.
Okay, let's do this. So here you are in the app Manage Physical Stock Products, and here you can see the products itself. You can see the storage bins and the storage types and the serial numbers if we would have some. And clicking in here, going into the details, you can see the general data, the location, the quantity, also the quant information. Like I said, if you would have serial numbers, you would see it, reference documents and blocking indicators. Now with one click, our customers can scrap or consume it. Let's say we have to consume it because we have an unplanned goods issue. So we go here in the details and you can see the product and 2 pieces. Maybe the customer only needs one, and with a little click here we post it, and this 1 piece is off on the truck. Here, when we look at the warehouse document of our goods issue, we can see it's confirmed. We can see the items again. Everything looks good. And with that, we have done the goods issue, the unplanned one, and solved the challenge for our customers.
Nice, thanks, Markus. Very nice demo. Now we're coming from storage and operations to the outbound process. And Christian, this question is for you. Can you tell us more about the processes? What is entailed?
Yes, of course. So before we go into the details of warehousing, I'd first like to highlight the integration to transportation management. So we can use transportation management to build transports and then these transportation planning results can then be taken over into warehouse management, so we can use this as a foundation before we start the actual warehouse execution. Now, when the outbound deliveries are created in warehouse management, we can use wave management as a first step to build logical groups of outbound deliveries. So we have those groups to define which deliveries should be picked together, because they, for example, leave at the same time, or they need to go to the same customer, they have the same route. So this would be a first step to build those logical groups. Now, when we have those, we create a picking warehouse task. And I earlier talked about the put away strategy. Now I need to talk about the stock removal strategy, because this is also very important to gain efficiency. So we really pick the best suitable stock. You can configure very standard stock removal strategies like first in, first out, first expired, first out, of course, but also more sophisticated. You can first look in a certain area for a product, then look in a different area. So again, a lot of customizing available. And also here, if you need something very, very specific, also there's a cloud body available to build your own custom-specific stock removal strategy. Now, once we have determined the stock and we have created the warehouse tasks, we need to group them efficiently into warehouse orders, because the warehouse order is basically the workload for one resource to work on at a time. And this must also be optimal, of course, to increase the efficiency. So you can configure multiple limits for a warehouse order, like what is the maximum volume for a warehouse order, the maximum weight, the maximum number of warehouse tasks. And the warehouse tasks inside of a warehouse order are again sorted. And you can sort this, for example, based on a storage bin sorting. So you have an optimal pick path, so you walk efficiently through the warehouse. Or you could sort it based on the weight. So you first pick heavy products, then you pick lighter products, so you can place them on top. And all of this can then, of course, be done on a mobile device. And once the picking is finished, it can be further carried on to the packing area, where you pack it into your final handling unit. You then stage it to a goods issue area. You load it onto a truck, also using a mobile device. And then the very last step is to post goods issue.
Thanks, Christian. And I think it really relates to what I use as an introduction, the Christmas period and the challenges on the supply chains. But just before we had the Black Fridays, and it's easy to relate to those events at the end of the year. Now we've looked at, let's say, the challenges, but let's talk as well about the solutions to try to minimize them. So I suggest we move on to now our hands-on experience to show the audience in practice how some of the features really work. I suggest we spoke specifically first on the outbound delivery process, because we receive a lot of questions in the larger community about that one and how to ship finished product to the customers. So looking at you guys, Christian, Markus, how does this process work and which SAP solutions are here concretely?
Do you want to start, Christian?
Yeah, so we'll split the work. I'll be creating warehouse tasks. Markus will be processing them later. So we've prepared a demo for a straightforward outbound to customer process. So the first thing I'll do, and I'll start my demo, is I'll use the app Manage Outbound Delivery Orders to select a certain outbound delivery. So there are multiple criteria available. I can display the details. For this outbound delivery, we can see the different items in there. So we have two different products. One is batch managed, one is serial number managed. This will be relevant later for the picking. And now I can create a picking warehouse task so we can hand them over for the actual picking process. Just to show that the tasks were created, I'm here navigating into the process warehouse task application. We can see the different storage bins that have been determined for the pick process. And also here are the warehouse task details. We can see that a certain batch has been determined. The storage bin is the goods issue area where to move it to. And this is now the workload for Markus to go on with the actual picking.
Thank you, Christian. Yeah, before I start the picking, I think I have to prepare myself quickly. And maybe one thing that's important to mention here, for the picking, we offer several solutions. One is the RF framework. We can use, or you can use as our customers for really scanners. But today I brought something new, the SAP Warehouse Operator, which is a native app developed from our colleagues in Munich. And this is what I would like to show on my cell phone. So here I start the demo. So here in the demo you can see my cell phone. And here you can see the warehouse task from Christian. I'll go in and add a pick handling unit. For that, I'm choosing just a regular Euro pallet. Here you can see on my cell phone, I'm looking for it. And here I pick it, the PM pallet. And I can generate a pick handling unit number, which in my case I did. And this one is assigned now for my picking task. And now I want to also scan the badge from Christian. Here I just scanned it. Now you can see on the left everything is green. I can also confirm the task, but wait a second, I do not pick 5 pieces, I want to pick 3 pieces. So I just changed that for our product. Now to the second product, here I scan the source bin and also the product and the serial numbers, which Christian assigned before. Here you can also see on the left everything is green, and also here I can confirm the task. No, wait, do one more thing. I just mentioned, saw that my picking HU is full, so I need to generate a new one. And with that one click here on my cell phone, I just got a new one, and now I can confirm the task. So I could just clicked on confirm task. And now I can scan the destination bin where I have to bring everything in the goods issue area 01. The order is complete. And with that, we go back to Christian.
Right, so I'll take it again from here. We'll now perform the packing step. So I'm logging on to the packing work center. I'm scanning the outbound delivery, and since there's no ship issue yet, I'm proposed to create one. I can select the product that I want to pack, click on the pack button, and now the batch managed product has been packed. We can see that the capacity is still fine, so I'm done with the first one and I can close it to then create a second one, which would be a carton as a shipping one. Here I only want to pack a partial quantity, so I'll scan just 2 serial numbers in this case. I press the pack button, and then those 2 serial numbers are packed into the carton. I'll close this carton again to then create the last carton, which I will need for my last remaining piece, so the last serial number. I'll pack this serial number over into the carton and close it. So we can see it really works quite fast. You have a lot of things that are proposed to you, and with this you can close the shipping handling unit. And then the last step that we need to do is to perform a goods issue posting. So I'll again use the Manage Outbound Deliveries app I'll select the outbound delivery, and in there I can now see that the picking progress is completed. The quantities have been adjusted, so it's 3 pieces instead of 5 pieces. The batch has been entered, and the only thing left to do is post goods issue for this outbound delivery, and we're done with the process.
Thanks, guys. Very clear demo, to the point. Now I'd like to touch quite complex topic. What we've seen so far is based on the SAP best practices, but of course our customers already need, for business reason, to extend. I'd like to talk with you about extensibility. And we know that extensibility can be challenging, not only from a software perspective, but in your case, you need to connect to many hardware devices, like a barcode scanner, like automated material handling equipment. I guess it's not impossible, right? But I guess this is challenging. And I'd like to understand from you the myth from extensibility, and what would you say to our audience to debunk them?
Yes, that's a very important topic. I completely agree. Especially in the logistics area. I mean, we just need to look at warehouses. They are all built differently. They all have a bit of different requirements. They all want to be as efficient as possible. So every scan that you need to do in addition is something you want to avoid whenever it's possible. And therefore, we are sure that it's very important to offer extensibility options here. So you can see on this slide that we basically divide extensibility into 2 different areas. On the left side, we can see extensibility integrated in S/4HANA Cloud. Here on the top, we can see the key user extensibility. So this would be the first topic to mention. And here I'd like to highlight custom fields, for example. So custom fields is a mechanism so you can add additional custom fields to already existing standard objects. And this is, for example, enabled for the outbound delivery order and warehouse management. So if you add there a custom field on this object, and you, for example, also add it on the sales order, then we also support it in an end-to-end flow. So it's automatically taken over from the sales order to the outbound delivery order, and it's then displayed there to the end user without the need of anything done in addition. And the UI that I've used earlier, the Manage Outbound Delivery Orders app, of course also offers Adapt UI mode. So you can use this mode to rearrange any UI elements that you see on the screen. You can also hide them. And most importantly, you can also add those custom fields to the UI, to the standard UI, and place them wherever you need them so they are visible for the end user. One more thing to mention in the area of key user extensibility is custom analytics. So we have released multiple CDS views that can be used as data sources to build your own KPIs and reports. So you have exactly those analytics that you need to see the efficiency in your warehouse. Still on the left side, now on the bottom area, is developer extensibility. I've already talked twice about cloud bodies, the area of put away strategy and stock removal strategy. So this is also available at other areas. I think this is a really cool feature. So at those areas where it's really necessary, you can build your own logic, your own algorithms. And those algorithms, of course, can only be meaningful if you have access to data. And in public cloud, you cannot just query data from any database, but you can only access objects that have a released contract. And for this, we offer multiple CDS views in multiple areas. For example, you can read open or confirm warehouse tasks. You can read the physical stock. You can read delivery information, and more and more and more. So there's a lot of CDS views, so you can use the data in the cloud bodies to build meaningful logic in there. And then on the right side, we can see the side-by-side extensibility. I think this is also very important. So you can build multiple things on the BTP, like you can build your own apps, your own user interfaces, maybe a mobile application even. And in order to integrate to S/4HANA Public Cloud, we have released multiple remote APIs that can be used. I've counted them. It's currently 12 different remote APIs for all the very important areas in warehouse management, like deliveries. So you can read them, but you can also perform actions on them. You can post goods received, you can post goods issue, you can create warehouse tasks for put away or stock removal, and you can also use the warehouse task API to create or confirm warehouse tasks. And there are many more, like storage bins, fixed bin, physical inventory, and so on. So I think there's really a lot of options to extend the system already as of today.
Okay, thank you. Now we've talked about the processes, we've talked about some analytics, but we all know it's not only about the right solution. An efficient warehouse management needs, of course, the right KPIs, the right key performance indicators. According to you, what KPI should company focus on to measure, to improve warehouse management performance?
That's a tough question, Yannick, because when we go or talk to customers or go out in the warehouses, I think each warehouse manager wants KPIs, but I think every customer also has their own KPIs or key performance measurements, what they would like to measure in their warehouse. Depends a little bit also on the industries, but how we solve this at SAP, we support several different ways to measure warehouse performance. The first one is actually the standard embedded analytics, and I brought a little demo. Would like to show it to you.
Sure.
And to our audience. So here in the warehouse KPI app, we see the general information, the filter criteria. You can also adapt the filter here if you would like to. And you can see that we already defined the most important KPIs. We saw that our customers would like to have them. Those are pre-built in the system. And you can see here that a warehouse manager can just look, for example, open warehouse tasks by overdue time in hours, or open pick warehouse tasks by activity area. All those things are automatically there in the system. You can also play around a little bit, make it a little bit nicer to your needs. And the nice thing is also you can here manage the cards. So if you just want to have the pre-built embedded analytics, you can increase some of them if you want to, or decrease them just to your liking. You see here with one click you can get more information from the pre-built-in analytics. And what's also very important is it's not only embedded analytics, it's also the possibility that if you would like to drill down, you can click on something, for example here on the process warehouse task for the picking. The open one, you can see here the warehouse process category and status. And you can see here for the open ones, the warehouse task and also the source handling unit information. You also can see here more information. You can also see the serial numbers with one click if you want to, or build in more information here. And you can also with one click confirm it. So it's not only an embedded analytics standard tool, it's also something where warehouse managers or warehouse clerks can actually drill down and do some functional work as well. You can see here the movement data of the warehouse task, you can see the destination bin, you can also see the target quantity and alternative unit of measure. The stock data is also visible here. Other data, for example, the document number of the delivery. And you can see everything can be drilled down, and with one click, this warehouse task is confirmed. So this is also how a warehouse manager can not only see the analytics, but also drill down and do some functional work. Christian already mentioned it in the extensibility part that more and more CDS views are released. And I'm not an analytics specialist, but before this expert talk, I sat down in the system and I just wanted to try it, how difficult it is. And within 30 minutes, I could achieve something with CDS or the extensibility. And here I also have a demo. Here you can see in the managed KPIs and reports, this is how I did it. I went to the stories, and here I set up or created an expert talk warehouse dashboard. And when you go in here, you can see the CDS views I used. I used them for the inbound, the outbound, and the warehouse task. And here in the configuration, this is where I actually built the story. It took me like maybe 20 or 25 minutes. And you can see here, once you've complete your analytics or configuration, you can insert an application. So create your own app. And by clicking or inserting your own app and clicking on it, you can actually see already your analytics. Here the completion status for the inbound, for example, number of inbound deliveries per completion status, completed or not started. I was also interested in the inbound delivery document types. Here for manufacturing orders, for example, for posting changes or purchase orders. You can also easily build filters in or extend it. Here in my example, the filter, for example, for posting changes. If I would like to see them, I can take out the filter. And when we go to the outbound CDS view, you can see here the outbound delivery orders per goods issue status. So some have not started yet, some have completed. But I was also able to just put in pictures or some other stuff in our warehouse view. So this was really amazing for me to see. It's not only analytics, but you can also extend it in other ways. And here in the operate, I was interested in the warehouse task per activity and status, for example, and weight and volume warehouse task per destination storage bin. Yeah, this was just a quick glimpse of how fast you can also extend the analytics part if you want to assign your or create your own KPIs.
Very nice, very convincing. Great overview, Markus. Thank you. Now we approach the end of this expert talk, and of course we can't close it without talking about the future. I'm looking at you, Christian. AI is in everyone's mind, it's on every roadmap, and of course I'd like to know what is on your roadmap. What can we expect for SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud 2402 and eventually beyond for the topic of warehouse management?
Yeah, so there's still a big roadmap ahead of us. We still have big plans for warehouse management, of course. I recently talked about extensibility. So this is something we want to invest really more into to release even more CDSUs, even more remote APIs, cloud bodies, enable more objects for field extensibility. So customers and partners can build more and more on top of the already existing features in warehouse management. And we'll also further improve the user experience. So we'll want to have a complete Fiori elements coverage in our area. We already have very great applications that we released in the last releases, and this is something that we really want to continue because we know it really benefits the end user. We will also, of course, invest into functionality. So there are still some topics that we see on the roadmap, but we also work closely with our customers. So we use the customer influence collaboration, using the continuous influence projects. And coming back to your main question, of course, also AI. That's, it's a big topic all over SAP, and also warehouse management will contribute to this area. We are mainly thinking about two use cases. One is for the inbound process. I explained in the beginning that when you receive a physical inbound delivery, you need to record it in the system. You really need to manually type in what you have in front of you physically, or you type it from the delivery node. And we want to use AI to get rid of this manual process. So you can just take a picture of the delivery node, and a large language model will extract the relevant information from this picture, from this delivery node, and automatically update it in the system. That would be one, to really reduce this manual effort. And the second one is to have a Joule enablement across all objects of warehouse management. So you can just use Joule. We've all seen the big launch of Joule recently. So all over all areas in warehouse management, you can just use Joule to interact with the system in a natural language. So those would be our main topics, but it's always very dynamic. We're always in contact with our customers and partners. We get a lot of feedback, so don't nail me down to it, please. But these are some of our focus topics.
Thank you, super exciting. I'm looking forward to our next expert talk when you can show those innovations in action. This is the end of this expert talk. Big thanks to you, Christian, for being with us. Big thanks to you, Markus, as well.
Thank you, Yannick.
And to our audience, I hope you learned as much as I did. I hope you liked it as much as I did. Please send us your comment as always. You can write to us directly, writing to insidess4@sap.com. Please share, give it a like, and don't miss the other link to these sessions that you can find in the comments below. See you soon.